Hey guys, welcome to Soulstream. Today we are going to dive into the world of this little high gain monster, the Joyo Bantamp Zombie 2. Let's do it. This little guy has 20 watts of power and has a real 12AX7 preamp in it. So, I don't know, does that still matter to people? Don't know. In theory, it should, because it kind of gives you that tube amp feel. And if you put it with a Class D power section like this, it can cause some serious damage in terms of volume whilst retaining that kind of tube amp feel. So I think people should care, and we're seeing more and more manufacturers going down the way of having a tube preamp and a solid state power section. What we're going to do today is just play along to a few jam tracks using this in some different settings. Then I'll play a few examples out of a mix just to show you what it sounds like. And finally, we'll just discuss it overall and some overarching themes as well when it comes to these sorts of mini amplifiers. Let me plug my guitar in and let's start with something you might not expect this little guy to do. What we've got is a really nice, sturdy and compact housing. Then we have two completely individual channels, and Joyo does a really nice thing. On such a, let's say, inexpensive amp, they also give you the foot switch, which is really cool. And I absolutely hate it when amp manufacturers have multi-channel amps and they don't give you a foot switch. It doesn't make any sense. You know, these are made to be played live. These are made to be played in the studio. Whatever, you need the foot switch. Anyways, on the front, we have independent controls for the clean channel and for the dirty channel. Then you have the selector. Obviously, up is clean, down is overdrive or distortion. Then you have a toggle switch for the Bluetooth, which we will look at when we turn the amplifier around. And then finally, you have the on-off button. It's all very simple. As I said, these lights come up depending on what channel you're in. The tone knob essentially carves out the mids or adds the mids to your sound. And although the gain and volume are fairly self-explanatory, it's just always interesting to play around with them on these kind of amps, because you can get very different results by balancing them out. If we then turn the amplifier around, what we have is a kind of retro-looking antenna. That's for the Bluetooth. So you can connect your phone Bluetooth to this, so stream stuff, play music, backing tracks, whatever. So it's kind of cool. Don't know about this antenna, to be honest. It just looks a bit silly, but whatever. Then you have your speaker out at 8 ohms. You have the foot switch, obviously. A headphone jack, which is really good for silent practice. So that's quite cool that you get that. However, let me just say, if you intend on using that as kind of a emulated out, it's not great. So it's basically just the amp with a bit of EQ on it. There's no actual like cab sims on it. It's just, as always with these things, right? You can do better if you just go out into something and load your own IR. But anyways, it's handy if you're in a pinch and you need to practice or whatever using earphones. Then the coolest thing, you have a really good effects loop. So send and return. No amp, for me especially, a kind of rock and roll amp, is complete without an effects loop. So it's really good that they've included it. So if you guys are familiar with the Joyo Bantamp series, generally, it's basically them copying, let's just say it, copying various different amp types. So they've got a Vox one, they've got a Marshall one, they've got, I think, 2 different Fender ones. One is really clean and the other one is slightly more like a Fender Twin. This is a Mesa Boogie recreation. This is a rectifier type amp. This one is really gainy. I mean, most of the time that I played it, I was on maybe 10 o'clock on the gain dial. And just generally speaking, these things are really loud. I mean, they are surprisingly loud. Look, this in a rehearsal can keep up with your drummer unless, you know, he's got some super kit. But most drummers, this will keep up with it. You put it through a 4x12, crank it, and this will sound monstrous. You've got tons of gain on tap. So it really, really hits you in the face how much gain it has. You won't need an overdrive pedal unless you really just want to tighten things up with a tube screamer or something along those lines. But in terms of pure distortion, this has plenty to go around. So in that vein, let's just listen to me going completely crazy, just rocking out in a kind of punk hardcore kind of way, just having fun. And that's what this amp is all about. So, having got that out of my system, I feel a lot better now. But that's the really cool thing about this amp. It's a very simple amp. You just plug in, go. Just put on the OD channel and boost it to the top, and you'll have a really good time. Now, we're going to hear the individual sound demos of just me going through various settings on the amp, on both the clean channel and the OD channel. What you will find, I hope, is that the star of the show really is the overdrive channel. The clean channel is there, it's usable, but it doesn't have that much headroom, and also it just distorts and doesn't really have that much character. Okay guys, and we're back. As I said, the Zombie 2's dirty channel is where it really shines. Even with the gain dialed back and dial it full back, it still kicks you in the balls. To be clear, put it in that region, those early Metallica type sounds. What's impressive is how the amp actually reacts. So I guess, going back to one of the initial points that I made, maybe it does serve a purpose to still carry a 12AX7 preamp tube in here, because when you dial your volume back, it does clean up very nicely. It does respond to your volume control on your guitar very well. It does provide a little bit of a nuance when dialing your volume back, and it is, I assume, because of the preamp tube. I think the Zombie 2 is really cool, if not a one-trick pony, in the sense that if this is the sound that you like, you want that early Metallica, you want that Mesa Boogie stuff, it's perfect. It's really, really good. If you want to go into slightly more bluesy sounds at a stretch, it can do that, but not much more. So it's just simple, right? The clean channel, quite frankly, could almost not be there for me. I really, didn't even go there. It's not even that modern sparkly clean that you hear on modern metal. It's just, it's there, it's not there, you don't really care. But, the high gains are quite addictive, they're quite fun, it's quite easy to use, and generally the construction is really good. Now, in terms of the negative sides, except for the clean channel, as I said, obviously there's no reverb. It would have been nice to have a reverb on here, but I guess the fact that they've included a effects loop kind of makes up for that, because I much prefer having a good quality effects loop than a reverb on board. Overall, this sits in a fairly affordable price range, so it's under $100. So you are getting a individual kind of very simple amp head that if you got a gig in a certain style, you can just bring along and play. I mean, would I run for this in the studio? Possibly not, but at the same time, one of the funny things about these YouTube videos where you see people kind of giving their opinions on stuff and mouthing off about it is that, they're all subjective. Let's be honest, they're subjective. This isn't my ideal sound in my head for distortion. I am more of a English type distortion rather than American distortion. But if you like that, if that's your thing, this is really good. It's cheap, it's fun. It's not the best thing. You can probably get a modeler that sounds just as good, but if that's all you need and you want it reliable and solid, and you do want that little bit of spongy kind of tube amp feel, well, this definitely has it. So I think it's a good option if you're a bedroom musician. It's a good option if you're a gigging musician. I think in 2024, it's still a fairly good option for everyone. You can get it used. If you've got a bit of money, you need to play in a specific style, this will do the job. As always, guys, I will link all the various information about the Zombie 2 in the links down below, and let me know your thoughts. I've played quite a few of the Joyo amps, and actually, this one's fun, but, as I said, it's not really my style, so I wouldn't naturally get this. I think the Fender ones, I think the Vox ones are actually quite good. But generally, I'm a fan of what Joyo does. It does it simple. It's not trying to be something it's not. So, as always, don't forget, please like, subscribe, because it does really help me. And give me a shout in the comments. Let me know. Please be polite, because a lot of you people are just mouthing off about silly things. Just be polite to each other and ring the bell for more notifications. I've got another really cool Joyo thing coming up tomorrow. So until next time, guys, please be good to each other, rock out, and play some cool metal riffs.